So then again, first of all, we need to have a slight idea on, before we move on to what is marine pollution, why these oceans and marine life are so important, like why we need to protect these oceans and marine life. So first of all, we have to understand the fact that there are like nearly 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans, while like nearly 94% of life on Earth are aquatic beings. So then again, like in the third bullet, you can see that nearly 1.4 to 1.6 million species of aquatic animals are present in Earth. And then again, we can see that ocean is one of the very important elements that actually helps in chemical and maintaining chemical and biological balance on the Earth. So then again, there are many and all other uses of marine ecosystems, such as specifically maintaining resilience and resistance, disturbing prevention, nutrient cycling, then again regulating greenhouse gases, for remediation of waste, also food provision, and then again marine ecosystem is very important in providing ocean resources. So then again with that, I'm sure all of you have a slight idea on why the oceans and why marine life are so important to us as humans, and why they take a specific part in maintenance of the human life. So then we will be moving on to a slide and a very brief introduction on what is marine pollution. And this was actually quoted from the National Geographic website. And according to it, marine pollution is a combination of chemicals and trash, most of which comes from land sources and is washed or blown into the ocean. Therefore, pollution results in damage to the environment, to health and all organisms, and to economic structures worldwide. So with that definition from National Geography, I'm sure everyone have a basic idea about what is specifically marine pollution and how this marine pollution is exactly associated with the environment pollution as well. So given that basic definition on what is marine pollution, we will be moving towards our next part of the topic, which is one of the most important parts, actually how the marine pollution occurs, how this very destructive form of environmental pollution occurs due to the human activities. So then again, we can see that marine pollution occurs mainly because of marine pollutants. Like I have mentioned in the slide, marine pollutants basically means the materials which affect the biological process of marine ecology, basically after being dumped into water bodies. So I'm sure everyone has seen, like experienced how these marine pollutants kind of act towards the marine pollution, basically destroying the environmental and marine ecosystems. So basically these sources of marine pollutants, like the sources which creates these marine pollutants, can be divided into two groups, such as the land-based marine pollutants and then again sea-based marine pollutants. So we can see like a very interesting fact here is that although this is marine pollutants, like the 80% of marine pollutants are land-based pollutants. That means nearly 80% are because of human activities. So here for the land-based pollutants, we can see pesticides, plastic waste, metallic waste, oil, radioactive waste, etc. Stuff like that contributes towards marine pollution. And those chemicals and those pollutants are actually created in land-based areas. And these are considered to be land-based marine pollutants. And then again, we have sea-based marine pollutants such as sewage and sediment plumes. Then again, most of them are also created due to human activities, nearly all of them. But then again, we can say it is like it takes a very less percentage of this, like a 20%, while land-based pollutant take the maximum part in marine pollution. So then again, with that, I'm sure everyone can understand like how marine pollution occur and how marine pollutants contribute towards the occurrence of marine pollution in a bigger scale. So with that being said, we have here a small graph that depicts how the countries are affected towards releasing marine pollutants. So you can see the names of several countries here again, and in the graph, you can see that like the types of marine pollutants, such as plastic bags, plastic bottles, tableware, like the food wrappers, containers, and all cigarettes. So you can see that nearly 32% of like the land-based marine pollutants, out of that, nearly 32% is considered to be cigarettes and alcoholic containers. So because of that, we can see that how the human activities directly affect the marine pollution and how these types of land-based marine pollutants contributes towards nearly majority and all of the marine pollution due to the human activities. So then again, with that being said, I'm sure everyone has a basic idea on like how these marine pollutants contribute to marine pollution and the destruction of basic marine ecosystems. So then we are moving on to a further like a kind of a scientific definition on marine pollution. So basically, according to researches done by many scientific organizations, which I will be sharing with you at the end of the presentation through the bibliography, there are two types of marine pollution, such as the discrete marine pollutions and then again the chronic marine pollution. We can see if we consider discrete marine pollution, it is based like it is a very short-term pollution, like it only retains for a short period of time. For example, there can be an oil spill, then the effects of this specific oil spill can be diminished with time quickly and rapidly. And these kind of marine pollutions are called as discrete marine pollution. Then again, these are less harmless than chronic pollution because these diminishes over time. And then again, we have the next type, which is the chronic marine pollution, which again, in opposite to discrete marine pollution, is about retaining for a long time. So we can see these types of chronic marine pollution include nutrient input, being effluent discharges, those which the effects retain for a long period of time or forever. So basically, it's obvious that these chronic marine pollutions are very harmful, much more harmful than discrete marine pollutions, because these are very long-term effects, and basically they like prevail on the marine, they cause destruction on the marine ecosystems, maybe for a long time and maybe forever. So basically, I'm sure that everyone has like a general idea on these two types of marine pollutions, which being the discrete pollution and then being the chronic pollution. So that being said, I'm sure that now that we have a basic idea on like what is marine pollution and how there are two types of marine pollution, we would be moving on to our next part of the presentation, which is about what are the human activities that lead to marine pollution. So previously I mentioned that there are like the source of marine pollution are marine pollutants, which are actually a result of destructive human activities that leads to the creation of these marine pollutants. So then again, we can see there are many human activities that lead to marine pollution. So basically, if we consider marine pollution, nearly most of the causes, I would say all of the causes, are like the results of unfavorable human activities. So first of all, we have excessive fishing. And then again, ocean mining, oil spills, improper polythene and plastic disposal, releasing agricultural effluents, man-made sedimentation, sand mining at beaches. So personally, I have seen many of these occurrences. And then again, I would say that excessive fishing is like one of the most destructive because it not only like disturbs the life cycle of the marine ecosystem, and then again, it disturbs kind of the marine life of the marine creatures. And then again, we have the ocean mining, which is depicted by a picture in the right side of the slide. There we can see that because of this, there are many disturbances to the marine ecosystems. And then again, there are many chemicals and many harmful chemicals added to the marine ecosystems due to these ocean minings. And then again, we can see oil spills. I'm sure all of you have known of the Pearl Express incident, which really took place near Sri Lanka like a few months ago, which causes the addition of many chemicals and many oil spills into the ocean, causing the destruction of not only marine creatures, but marine ecosystems such as coral reefs, etc., causing the destruction of many ocean-based industries in the country. So then again, we can see like the basic effects like the releasing agricultural effluents, then releasing man-made sedimentations and etc. So with that being said, I'm sure that now all of us have a basic idea how these human activities lead to marine pollution, how basically most of the marine pollution is caused because the unfavorable and destructive human activities. So now, next we will be moving on to our first activity, which I have been planning, because we have getting quite an idea about what is marine pollution and how marine pollution occurs. I would like two participants to speak about how you have experienced marine pollution, whether you have seen people polluting marine ecosystem, and what did you feel. So you can basically use the chat and type the answer, or if you feel like speaking up, you can simply raise the hand option using the Zoom function and then again speak up. So then again, I feel that you would be cooperating with us and speaking. So if you can either type in the chat about one of your shared experiences about marine pollution, and then again, how did you feel? If not, you can use the raise hand function, and then share with us one of your experiences that you have seen away of marine pollution. So I'll be giving like a few minutes. Okay, so if there isn't anyone else, like I hope I can randomly pick someone. Then again, like you can just basically say 1 to 2 sentences about like how you feel about marine, like whether you have seen incident of marine pollution. If not, you can simply say no, or like you have seen people throwing garbage or something like that, like how you have experienced marine pollution. So I'll just pick someone from the participant list. So how about Anuki from Sri Lanka? Yes, there is one raising hand. Like,
There are two
yes,
people
we have. Yeah, we have Daria from India. You can speak up.
A very good afternoon to one and all. My first interaction with these types of marine pollutions were when I was on trip to Maldives and we were having a boat ride, and then I saw that one dolphin, one sea animal. I think that was a dolphin only, it was inside a net and it was flowing on the water as it was there. So at that time, I think that there's a lot of pollution in the countries like Maldives also.
Okay, thanks a lot for sharing that experience with us, so we can see how this marine pollution affects a lot of marine animals and disturbing the life systems as well. So that being said, I think there was someone else raising hand as well. But then again, we have some time constraints. I would move on. And then again, we have like 2 to 3 activities planned ahead. So whoever raised hand previously can get a chance in the next activity. So thank you for person who shared their experience with us, like right now. So because of that, I'm sure everyone can understand like how marine pollution causes destruction in marine lives of marine animals as well. So then we will be moving to the next part of our presentation, which is about like what are the basic effects of marine pollution. Because then again, like people go on about talking about marine pollution, but then again we wonder like as humans how marine pollution affects us. Because then again, like people think that we are not affected by marine pollution. So like what's the point of protecting the marine life? So then again, I'll move on to describing like what are the effects of marine pollution. So basically, first of all, we have the destruction of marine ecosystem, which is like one of the most destructive effects of marine pollution. So basically, according to researches done by National Geography, we can see that there are nearly 100 million of marine animals dying each year from alone plastic waste. But then again, there are like 2 to 14,000 tons of plastic ingested, but no Pacific fish really. So you can see like how the plastic output by humans directly affects the marine pollution and directly affects destruction of these ecosystems. And then again, it is proved that nearly 500 marine locations are now recorded as dead zones globally. So again, you can see how these marine locations have been recorded to be dead because of the destructive human activities. Because these marine locations once proved to be like of natural beauty, once proved to be like useful to humans, then again they are recorded to be dead zones because of the destructive human activities themselves. Then again, we see like 100,000 marine animals dying from getting entangled in plastic yearly. And then next one, we can see that nearly 1 in 3 marine mammal species get found entangled in litter. So basically, if you refer to these points, we can basically understand that this destruction of marine ecosystem is occurring due to the human activities, mainly due to the improper disposal of garbage, mainly plastic and pollutants by humans, right? Because we can see that most of the deaths and destruction of marine lives occur due to improper disposal of garbage and improper disposal of plastics and pollutants. So with that being said, we'll move on to have a look at several photographs which were actually taken by some photographers about how aquatic creatures are suffering by marine pollution. So you can see that how due to marine pollution, how aquatic creatures are suffering. And in the first photo, you can see that how turtles are suffering from marine pollution, mainly by how when chemicals are added to marine resources, how these chemicals react with the marine resources and cause destructions in lives of aquatic creatures such as turtles. And then again, we can see some in the next picture, we can see some pictures of coral reefs which have been recorded to be dead zones due to destructive human activities that goes towards marine pollution. And then in the last picture, we can see how excessive fishing, which is like a very destructive human activity, has affected marine pollution. So basically, all these three pictures show us how these human activities acts towards the marine pollution, not only destroying the marine ecosystem, but also making the lives of these aquatic animals very much vulnerable and very much destructive. So that being said, I'll move on to the next effect, like the next very negative effect of marine pollution, which is consuming human health, causing human health attack. So basically, some of you might wonder like why, how could the marine pollution cause for human health hazard? So if you basically refer to these 4 points I have mentioned, you might see that actually the marine pollution, which is caused by humans themselves, has a very direct and negative effect on the health of humans, right? So we can see that maternal consumption of contaminated seafood may damage the developing brains, reducing IQ, and also increasing children's risk for autism and also ADHD and learning disorders. And specifically for adults, we see that this marine pollution, the chemicals that get added to marine resources due to human activities can actually get added to the bodies of humans, specifically adults, during when consuming food types. And then again, it can cause for risks for cardiovascular diseases and also dementia. And then again, we can see specifically for young people, they cause in disrupting endocrine signaling, damaging of nervous systems, and then of course increase the risk of cancer. And then again, for older people as well, we see that neurological impairments and then again rapid deaths and respiratory diseases. So basically the point here is that there are many instances where humans add chemicals to marine resources, but then again, due to that, these chemicals get added to marine resources, and these when people consume food types, these chemicals within marine resources get added into the bodies of people, causing direct health hazards, mainly very destructive health hazards like cancers, neurological damage, cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, and etc. So that being said, I'm sure everyone has an idea about how this marine pollution even has an effect on human health. So that being said, we'll move on to the next point, which is basically one of the very important points about causing how marine pollution causes unfavorable climate changes. So first of all, we have to understand that there are three basic changes which are caused by marine pollution, which is the sea level rise, increasing in temperature, and then again increasing carbon dioxide emission rate. So first of all, first point is that when the marine pollution increases, we see that there is a certain, when more pollutants and plastics are added to marine resources and when marine pollution increases, there is a certain increase in the carbon dioxide emission rate. Mainly it is the improper disposal of polythene and plastic, like I said. So when this carbon dioxide emission rate rapidly increases, we can see an increase in the temperature levels. And then again, this directly and indirectly supports global warming, and because of this global warming, there can be a melting of polar regions, and it is proved that we have lost Arctic sea ice at a rate of almost 13% per decade. And over the past 30 years, the oldest and thickest ice in Arctic has declined by a stunning rate of 95%. And it is proved that because of marine pollution, the carbon dioxide rate emission has increased, and this particular incident has directly caused for this increase in temperature levels and increase in global warming. And because of that, this certain global warming and increasing temperature, like I mentioned, there can be melting of polar regions. And because of that, there is a very much rapid rise in sea levels, causing nearly 1 billion people and 1 billion people to be affected by the annual flooding. So then again, it is proved that these 1 billion people will be affected by annual flooding by nearly 2100. And of those, 230 million occupy land within 1 meter of high tide lines. So it is obvious that how within next few hundred years, this marine pollution would cause for many displacement of many people, turning them to refugees, because there can be rapid risings of sea levels, causing for drowning of islands, and then again causing for displacement among people. So that being said, I'm sure now every one of you have ideas how marine pollution causes many unfavorable effects, not only on animals, not only on aquatic creatures, but also on humans and on climate. So that being said, like we would move on to the next part of the presentation, which is like the current issues regarding marine pollution. But then again, right now, this is not much of a current issue. But then again, this is like the main reason why I became interested in marine pollution and marine protection. Like I really wasn't of much interest in marine pollution. Like I was an activist, I did awareness through arts. But then again, I refound my interest and like need to engage in activism after this particular incident, which is the issue of express pearl vessel. So I'm sure most of you have heard of this if you have been watching news or like being aware of the what is happening around you. And this particular vessel, like, or the ship has been carrying like nearly 25 tons of acids, chemicals, cosmetics, and etc. And then again, this particular vessel caught fire on 20th of May near the Sri Lankan coastal line, which is my country. And then again, many of the ship's containers, like nearly 1,486 containers, were tumbled into the sea, causing a huge blaze, which was not being able to put out by the Navy or any kind of forces for like many days. So because of that, there has been many after effects of that, many destructions in ecosystems and many destructions to lives of marine animals. So it was laterly proved that this certain express pair contained like 278 tons of bunker fuel oil and many more chemicals, nearly 50 tons of gas oil. So these contains these types of many chemicals which cause a direct effect towards the direct, like a very negative direct effect toward the marine ecosystems. So then again, because of this, we saw that there were hundreds and hundreds of aquatic creatures dead, like those dead bodies of aquatic creatures coming towards the beaches, and then again, like hundreds of dead bodies of these aquatic creatures. And then again, because this happened near the Sri Lankan marine border, we saw that the economy of the country directly affected by this, because there were like many coral reefs and many aquatic ecosystem near the Sri Lankan marine system was reported to be dying, and also aquatic creatures. Because of this highly affected like the most of the industries related to marine systems in Sri Lanka. And then again, rather than industries and rather than economy, one thing I saw was like how these tons of like how this mere blazing of one ship caused like thousands of destructions in the marine ecosystem. So this basically was like how I was inspired to restart my activism for marine protection. So I basically thought that it would be good if I share this with you, because then again, it is one of the most like important and significant incidents concerning the marine protection and marine pollution in the country. So basically, now that we have been discussing about the issue of express pearl vessel, about how that has a very negative effect on the South Indian Sea for marine pollution, we would be moving on to our next part of the presentation, which is about what has the United Nations has already done in order to establish marine protection. So basically, the United Nations has done many things, but I would basically emphasize on 3 steps, like which are like the very basic steps UN has done to establish marine protection. So first of all, we have the Ocean Action Hub, and this special hub was formed by the UN to take actions under the SDG 14, and to also to conserve and sustainably use marine resources, because let's face it, we need the marine resources. And then again, it's not about not using marine resources and keeping them away, but rather about sustainably using them. So then again, this Ocean Action Hub was specifically designed to tackle that issue. And then again, we see that this making a huge impact on marine pollution and working towards reduce this certain marine pollution effects. And then we have the ocean conference effect, which I see as the beginning of like everything towards marine protection, because this special conference was organized by the UN to discuss the inclusion and implementation of SDG 14, when the UN was planning on to make introduce 17 SDGs. This specific ocean conference was the one that decided, okay, there should be a special separate SDG that advocates towards marine protection, that advocates towards the life underwater. So this specific ocean conference was the one that actually made sure that there is a one particular SDG that tackles marine pollution. So I basically see this is one of the basic, very important steps that were taken, and this is one of the very important incidents that marked the beginning of marine protection. So then again, we have like the very basic and the very simple thing, not simple, but then a very basic and the one of the very important things done by the UN is the implementation of SDG 14. So I'm sure every one of you now know that UN has included the SDG 14. SDG 14 is for life underwater and protection of marine life and marine ecosystems. So then again, we see that this particular SDG was focused on conserving and sustainably using oceans and marine resources. And this was included into the 2030 agenda of the United Nations General Assembly on Sustainable Development Goals. So we can see that over the course of time, this particular SDG has done so much attempts to make sure that marine protection is being done out the world. And then again, there are, of course, there are activities done to reduce marine pollution throughout the world. So basically, I believe that these are like the three most basic things done by the UN. But then again, there are many more. But due to time constraints, we would be focusing on these very basic 3 steps taken by the UN in order to make sure that marine pollution is being reduced and marine protection is being established throughout the time. So that being said, we would be moving into our next activity, which is I would again like to speak up, all of you to speak up, or else you can use the chat. And if you use the chat, I would be reading out your answers at the end of the session. And then again, so I would like all of you to suggest how you as youth can reduce marine pollution. So you can simply suggest any kind of solution, or else like how you simply feel, how you basically as like a youth can reduce marine pollution. So you can simply, like the last time, use the raise hand function to raise your hands. Then again, I'll recognize you like the last time. We would be in I would like to have like 1 to 2 people. Then again, so you can basically say like anything, how you feel about marine pollution, how you feel you as youth can reduce marine pollution. Okay, we have 2 people. We have, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, we have Akar Chi from India, and then again Rashmi Goswami. So it would be Akar followed by Rashmi. Akar, you can go ahead first.
Thank you so much, Amaya. So basically, I am an Indian student. I am a high school student, and now I would like to suggest some ways to reduce the marine pollution. So basically, I would suggest to set up recycling plants near to beaches. The beaches, because people use plastic bottles, people use plastic bags near to beaches, and they just throw it away. They just leave it on the beaches, which then washes into the ocean. So I would suggest planting the recycle plants near the beaches, which would help a lot for recycling the plastic and reducing the marine pollution at last. Thank you so much.
Yes, actually, that's a very great idea. But then again, like I have been thinking about that as well. It's a very good idea if like the countries can go for recycling plantations. And then again, I really like your idea. But then again, so thanks a lot for speaking out. And next we would be having Rashmi. I think you raised your hand. You can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I think that we can also use awareness. That would help a lot, as there have been a lot of places where we used awareness and a lot of change has been made using awareness.
Thank you, Rashmi. That is like a wonderful solution, because I personally as well believe that awareness is like one of the most important things we have to take when tackling marine pollution. Because then again, there are some people who don't know, like there are people who know that marine protection is important, but then again, there are people who know marine protection is important, but do not know how they are going to protect the marine environment, because they don't know what kind of steps they are supposed to take in order to protect the marine environment. So I basically strongly believe that awareness is such an important thing to take in this course. So then again, thank you for both of you to speaking up. I believe that both the solutions were really good and kind of have been like a very feasible solution that can be taken to tackle marine pollution. So we would be moving on to the next part of the presentation, which would be about what youth can do to reduce marine pollution. So apart from the 2 wonderful suggestions brought out by you two, I I would be basically emphasizing on what youth can do to reduce marine pollution, introducing some examples some youth has done in the past before. So first, we would be move on what you can do. So, like one of the participants in the forum suggested out, like I think Rashmi suggested out, spreading awareness. It is like one of the basic things because I have seen people talking about saying that okay, marine pollution is bad. We have to take steps towards marine protection. Marine protection is very important, but then again, they are doing nothing because they don't know how they are going to take those steps. So, I personally believe that it is very important we aware people about not only about why marine protection is important, but then again about how people are going to spread marine protection, how people are going to reduce marine pollution. Because I have seen people who are unaware of how they are going to do so, although they know why, although they know that it is bad. So then again, we see that as youth, one of the basic things is like speaking up and expressing your opinions to society. I basically see that this is like one of the most important points because then again, if as youth, you're going to keep silent in the face of like marine pollution, and if you're going to keep silence, like neglecting what as a youth you have to do, then again, it's not going to work because I believe that maybe although you are not taking like big grand scale solution, it is important that you start small and speaking up your opinions and everything. And but then again, I have to mention like something I forget to mention. When I said spread awareness, I do not mean like big brand. Like it is good if you can do that, but then again, you don't have to do like a big grand scale awareness projects and awareness campaigns. By spreading awareness, you can simply begin with a message in your social media account supporting towards marine protection. You can simply start with something like that. Like when taking solution our youth, you don't always have to be like brand scaled and big scale. You can always start small because then again, if you're even though it's a baby step, that would be kind of a step in the right direction, right? So then again, I believe that these two solutions are like one of the very basic and important things. And then the third one is like personally, that is what that is how I got interested in marine protection, is engaging in clubs and NGOs in marine protection. So then again, I feel that wait, I'll like join the next one as well, like creating a school-oriented club on marine protection. So basically, I was like participating on some conferences done by a Sri Lankan organization on marine protection, and they were discussing about how marine protection is important, and they conducted an environment on how they can reduce marine protection. I was actually very much interested in this marine protection. And then again, we like at school, we started on drawing posters and making awareness programs and everything because we were engaged in clubs and NGOs on marine protection, and we got inspiration from there. So I believe that it is very important, like as youth, we get engaged in those kinds of clubs and NGOs on marine protection, and we get inspiration from those people who have already done so much towards this cause. And then again, if you're a school student, you can simply start like collect what 3 to 4 of your friends and start something that actually goes towards marine protection. And although that, like I mentioned earlier, that may be small, but then again, you are definitely going to make some kind of impact on the society towards marine protection. So basically the final thing, like the next thing is like using available platforms. It's basically, it's like I mentioned earlier, you always don't have to like waiting for the right moment, waiting for a better chance. If you have kind of a simple basic platform, like let's say you have an Instagram account, you can simply post a message saying how important it is that we protect our marine ecosystems and how as a youth you can protect marine ecosystems. And that would be kind of a very simple basic step towards how you protect marine ecosystem, how you spread awareness. Because then again, I believe that the most important thing is you use your using your available platforms to take feasible and practical action. So which takes us to your last point, which is action. So then again, we see that there are many people who talks about marine protection, but then again, they don't take action towards that. So I believe this is like one of the most important things, because then again, marine protection is not about doing speeches. It is not about like talking how important it is about marine protection. It is about taking feasible and positive action. So if the youth are going to keep talking and talking, doing nothing, so I believe that it is very important, just as much as you spread awareness, just as much as you keep speaking on that, just as much as you keep sharing with people, it is important that you yourself take action, not just words. So I believe that this is basically what youth can do as like to in order to make sure that marine ecosystems are protected and ensured, in my opinion. So then again, there are many more things you can do, like many more creative solutions you can take in order to make sure marine ecosystems are protected. But then again, in my perspective, I believe that these are like the very important steps. And then again, like I said, there are much more. So everyone can think of and take very simple solutions, because like I said, in youth, it is important that you take action, not like waiting for someone else to take them for you. So that being said, we would be taking a look at one of the examples, like a few would be youth-led organizations and the other would be NGOs. How these very organizations have taken steps towards ensuring that marine protection is happening throughout the world. So first of all, we'll take a look at these youth-led organizations. We see a list of 10 organizations such as Global Youth Biodiversity Network, Clean Earth Gambia, Boseed, Think Ocean, S2Ocean, Utopia, Greening Forward, Blue Ribbon, Ocean Youth, Ocean Connectors, and there are many more. Like I included only like one of the 10 of the organizations that is most known to me, but there are many more. So then again, we see NGOs like Ocean Conservancy, Surfrider, Oceania, Sea Shepherd Foundation, Tech Tree, Greenpeace, and the Oceanic Preservation Society, the Environmental Defense Fund. And then again, we see that here as well, there are many more NGOs, but then again, I'll include the one most known to me. So I personally believe that these are some examples of the organizations, both youth-led organizations and non-governmental organizations that that work towards marine protection, and that make sure that marine pollution and negative effects of marine pollution are reduced to a maximum level. So then again, we see that there are some organizations, for example, the youth-led organization that you can take part of, and that you can take, like, you can be kind of the youth leaders in those organizations. So I suggest that you take interest in those organizations and make sure like you aid them in what they're doing and take action towards marine protection. So giving that list of examples on what are the basic youth-led organizations and non-governmental organizations that works towards marine protection, we would be taking a look at examples of what youth have done in order to ensure marine protection. So basically, this is like something I have done in the first few pictures. And here you can see like I've been engaged in beach cleanups. Like when the COVID-19 restrictions, like the curfews, they loosen down, I basically go with my parents or few of my friends to do that. And then again, this was specifically done for one of the MUN impact projects, which is namely the SDG relay race. So there we were asked to like conduct some kind of sustainable goal, a deed related to sustainable goal development, any of sustainable development goals. I chose the SDG 14, and there I had to do like a beach cleanup. And it is like I think it is like my 7th or 8th beach cleanup. Then again, like I have been doing a lot, either with my parents or my friends. So then again, this is something like very simple you can do. You can go with your parents, you can go with siblings or friends and go there and kind of engage in those cleanups, because then again, it is like, even if you clean like only 2 to 3 meter like area, then again, at least that would make an impact, like even a small impact, because like I said, it is important that you take action. So then again, like I have like a poster I have drawn to make sure that for the awareness on marine protection. And I'm sorry that because of the curfews, like there are some, like I have been drawing graffiti on some walls on marine protection, like a lot, but then again, I can't share it because of the curfew. I can't go out to take the pictures. So sorry about that. But then again, I'm sharing like one of the posters I have drawn on paper. So that is like one of the other things. And then again, we have like MUN impact, as like someone who has been in MUN impact for several years. I would say MUN impact has also done many things for marine protection. We have the 100K Youth Challenge, which focuses on taking actions for all these sustainable development goals and specifically marine protection. And then we have the community magazines. I saw many topics in that relating to marine protection, how marine protection is important. And once it also had a photography contest on like the marine photography contest on marine ecosystems. And then we have like the MUN at home and like the debates where we discuss on topics related to marine protection. So I believe that all of these are very important youth action that have to be taken. So then again, here are some more examples. We see again the beach cleanups, then again the posters and the awareness programs, and then again planting trees in marine ecosystems, because it is very important that, because that is also something important. And then again, we see that conducting awareness campaigns and cleaning the beaches, etc. So we see that these are some more examples in marine protection and how youth has taken these actions towards marine protection. So basically with that, we have like discussed on like what are the basic actions that youth have to take on marine protection, and what the youth have already done in order to ensure marine protection is prevailing in the world. So this is some kind of a basic introduction given by a Dr. Earl. One of my favorites, like what is important, like how ocean is important. So he's basically saying that if you think ocean is not important, you have to imagine the earth without ocean, right? So if you imagine the earth without ocean, you would get a visual imagery of a planet like Mars, and without any life and without any life support system. So he's basically saying that because of that, the basic reason that why life prevails on Earth is the ocean. So then again, this is one of my very favorite quotations on why ocean is important. So I thought I would be sharing that with you. So that being said, I think that wraps up for the presentation. And if you have any other questions, I would like to take them at like the last 5 minutes. And then again, if you don't have any, like if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and ask your questions, or else use the chat box to suggest your questions. And then again, if you don't have your questions, you can simply say like two of your friends suggested how they think marine pollution should be tackled. And then again, you can give out more suggestions, because it is all about taking suggestions and positive and feasible changes. So that being said, I think that would be all. And yeah, and before we move on to the question, I have like prepared a small kind of a quiz for you, where you would have to like answer very simple 8 to 7 questions on the marine pollution, like on what I have discussed at the throughout the presentation. So we'll be doing the quiz first, and then we'll move on to the presentation, where you can ask questions or either suggest your opinion on the topic or any part of the presentation you saw today. So give me 1 minute to share my screen on the quiz. Okay, I hope that you can see my screen. So this is what you have to do. You can go to the Google and type kahoot.com, and then you get you have to type www.kahoot.it. You can simply access the app there, and when they ask for the game pin, you can type this number here, 172697. And then again, if you have the Kahoot app, it would be amazing. You can simply go there. Yeah, I can already see one people here. You can simply join, and then we have at least 15 people or 10 to 15 people, we would get moving. So yeah, we have 3. So because we have like a bit of a time constraints, we have like 10 more minutes remaining. So if you guys want to have like any questions to ask, better if you guys can like join quickly. So yeah, we would be waiting for 1 to 2 minutes for few more people. You guys can simply type the website kahoot.it, and then like drop in the game pin, the number mentioned here, and then you can move on. Okay, we'll wait for 1 minute and then we'll move on, because we do have some people already here. Okay. Okay, so if there is no one else joining, we'll move on, because we do have some issues with the time. Okay, I think we'll move on. Like others, 30 seconds, guys, please join in if you want to, because we have some terrible issues with the time constraints. Like we have only 8 minutes more. So I guess we'll move on, because we have time issues, and then again, people, okay, we'll move on. You have to say the oceans cover the majority of the Earth's surface, nearly 71%, whether it is true or false. Okay, then we are moving to the next question, which is a quiz. Which is the following is a sea-based pollutant, which I described at the very beginning of the presentation. Okay, it is actually sediment plumes, like I mentioned in the very beginning of the presentation, but then again, okay, so we are moving on. We have what is like I'm asking discrete marine pollution means the short-term form of ocean pollution. In the beginning, I mentioned two forms of marine pollution. Then again, I'm asking whether discrete is short-term or long-term, like whether it's true or false. Okay, it is actually short-term. So yeah, well done. We are moving on. Then again, next one is again a quiz. So it is about one of which of the following is not a step taken by UN for marine pollution. I mentioned like three of the very like basic steps taken by the UN for marine protection. So there is one which is not taken by the UN but another NGO. So yeah, you have to point out what is that. Okay, yeah, it is 100K. It's done by Moon Impact, not UN. So there's that. And then again, it's a true or false question. I'm asking whether marine pollution can cause in melting of polar regions, whether it's possible that basically marine pollution has an effect on climate changing by melting of polar regions. We have to say true or false. So we have 13 answers. Yes, it is actually have an effect on melting of polar region. So then we are moving on again. Next one is asked for like quiz. Okay, so then I'm asking me which country did the Pearl Express explosion occur? And basically explain that, taking that as an example, which was like the basic stepping stone for my regaining my interest on marine protection. So I hope you remember that. We have 9 answers so far. Yeah, so it was actually Sri Lanka. So we'll be moving on. So, which is like the one last question. It is about whether marine pollution can actually cause human diseases and disorders. I'm asking whether it is true or false. So you can answer whether it's true or false. We have 11 answers so far. 12. Okay, we have like time issues. So I hope you guys, yes, this is actually true. Marine pollution can cause human diseases. So we are moving on to our last question, which is again a quiz. So I'm asking which of the following is a youth-led NGO on marine pollution. So basically this is about which is the youth-led NGO, not an NGO. So I hope you remember, like I gave two lists on what are youth-led NGOs on marine protection. Yes. So it is Blue Ribbon organization. So with that, we are ending our Kahoot questions. So we have a winner, like third place, it is Shruti. And second place, we have Eliza. And then in first place, we have Anna. Okay, so you three guys have been like listening well, I guess. So with that, I end our Kahoot quiz. So I guess we can move on to like the Q&A session. I guess I can take like, if you have any questions, if you guys want to talk, speak about anything, we can have like about 1 to 2 people to speak about anything they want or to ask any question. So you guys simply can go to the Zoom function and raise your hand or else type your answer in the chat. So the time issues, I hope you guys can rush up a bit. Okay, anyone who wants to like suggest their opinion on what is going on, like any solutions for marine protection or else any questions? If not, okay, we have someone, wait, I saw someone raising a hand. If you want to speak up, you can see, yeah, we have, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, it is Daria. So if from India, you can speak up, unmute and.
So I have a question that if someone is not living inside near the coast, so how can they protect the coast from protect the marine life from getting polluted?
Okay, basically, like I said that like in order to do beach cleanups and like the very materialistic and solutions to take materialistic solutions like that, you have to live near coastal area, right? That's what you're basically asking. But then again, even if you're not living near a coastal area, it is very much possible for you to take solutions such as being engaged in NGOs and taking indirect actions. Like you may be living somewhere like in inward place of the country, but then again, if you're engaged with some kind of an NGO, and the action you take there would be taken by someone near the coastal area. And then again, even if you are living near somewhere inside the country, you can take steps for awareness, which I said was like one of the very important things. So I believe that those stuff are like you said, if to do materialistic solutions like such as like doing beach cleanups, we have to live in the beach like the coastal areas. But then again, if we consider solutions such as engaging NGOs and spreading awareness, there are like there is no limit saying that you have to live near coastal area or not. So I believe that true, there are some solutions that has to be taken only by a person who's living near coastal areas. So there is that, but then again, there are many more that can be taken apart by people who are not living, like the awareness, like being engaged in NGOs and etc. I see someone else. I'll be yeah. So I see Shruti raising a hand. You can ask your question.
Yeah. How can phytoplanktons be protected?
Sorry, can you rephrase your question?
The phytoplanktons, the organisms that live in the like in the sea and other water bodies, how can they be protected? As like,
yeah, actually, good question. Like, so I believe that that is like one of the very important things. I believe that that is like where the youth comes in. So I think that that is like one of the most current and prominent issues here. So I believe that that is where the youth comes in, and their youth has to take action, because that is one of like the most prominent issues here. And I believe that is why we need youth to step up and youth to take action towards that. I hope that answers your question. So
yeah, thank you.
Yes. So yeah, we have a question in the chat, Eliza from Philippines, asking realistically, fish is in high demand. So how can we convince fishermen to avoid excessive fishing since fish gives them money? Okay, this is actually a very interesting question. Like I mentioned this in presentation as well. Like I said, if we consider aquatic resources, we cannot actually neglect the fact that we need aquatic resources. Like we need fish, because then again, like fisheries industry is like one of the very important industries in many countries. But then again, it is true that we need them, but it is excessive fishing is completely something else. Like there are fishing and excessive fishing. There's a clear cut line between those two. So I believe that yes, fishing gives fishermen money, but then again, there's a very clear-cut line between fishing and excessive fishing. Like I think I show you a picture of what happens when excessive fishing happens. And then again, I'm sure all of you have seen when fishing is done, that does not happen. So it is very important that we understand the line between fishing to an industrial and economical purpose, and then again, excessive fishing done which causes again like the marine pollution. I think that is like one of the basic things we have to understand. So thank you for the question. That was like a very interesting question. So yeah, I think that is it. So with that being said, I think we would be concluding the time of this workshop. So thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you so much, Shamaya, for coming, for encouraging everyone to take such actions. And thank you to everyone who came over here. Please do check out our other sessions. They're still open.